500 years ago, Europeans crossed an ocean to reach a new world. Millions died. Millions more built a civilization from nothing. Now, humanity stands at the edge of an even greater journey. SpaceX plans to send the first ships to Mars in 2026 and build a city of 1 million people by 2050. This will be the most dangerous migration in human history, and it is happening in our lifetime. Let us start with the obvious question. Why Mars? Why not the Moon? We mean the Moon is right there. You can literally see it from your backyard. A trip takes about 1 day compared to 8 months for Mars. Seems like a no-brainer, right? Well, here is the thing nobody tells you. The Moon is actually a terrible place to build a civilization. See, the Moon has a day that lasts 28 Earth days. That means 14 days of scorching sunlight followed by 14 days of freezing darkness. Our bodies evolved for a 24-hour cycle. Try messing with that for a few years and watch what happens to your mental and physical health. Mars, on the other hand, has a day that lasts 24 hours and 37 minutes. That is so close to Earth that your body would barely notice the difference. But wait, it gets better. Mars has gravity at 38% of Earth's compared to the Moon's measly 17%. Mars has water ice buried everywhere. Mars has an atmosphere made of carbon dioxide that we can convert into oxygen and rocket fuel. The Moon has basically none of these things. Now, here is where the numbers get wild. Musk believes we need 1 million people on Mars to achieve what he calls civilizational self-sufficiency. That sounds like a made-up corporate buzzword, but think about it. 1 million people means doctors, engineers, farmers, teachers, artists, plumbers, and every other profession needed to maintain a complete society. At his September 2016 presentation at the International Astronautical Congress in Guadalajara, Mexico, Musk estimated this would require transporting about 1 million metric tons of cargo at roughly $100,000 per ton. But here is the part that makes our brain hurt. Mars transfer windows only open every 26 months when the planets align properly. Miss that window, and you are stuck waiting more than 2 years. This is why SpaceX plans to launch entire fleets simultaneously during each departure period. We are talking 5 uncrewed Starships in 2026, potentially 20 crewed missions in 2028, 100 by 2030, and 500 by 2033. And you thought your Amazon delivery schedule was aggressive. Before any human sets foot on Mars, the planet will be crawling with robots. Dozens, maybe hundreds, of machines are preparing everything for our arrival. Which brings us to something straight out of a science fiction movie, except it is actually real. Remember when we all laughed at that awkward Tesla robot dancing on stage? Yeah, that thing is going to Mars. Optimus stands 5 feet 8 inches tall, weighs 125 pounds, and can carry 45 pounds. It has 28 degrees of freedom throughout its body. The hands alone have 22 degrees of freedom, meaning they can perform delicate construction tasks that would make a surgeon jealous. In March 2025, Musk confirmed Optimus would be aboard the first Starships heading to Mars in 2026. Tesla plans to produce 50,000 of these robots in 2026 alone, with a Texas factory targeting 10 million annually by 2027. But why send robots first? Why not just send humans and figure it out as we go, like some kind of interplanetary reality TV show? Because Mars is basically a murder planet. Surface temperatures swing from a pleasant 24 degrees Celsius at the equator during midday to negative 153 degrees during polar winter. That is a range of nearly 180 degrees. For comparison, the coldest temperature ever recorded on Earth was negative 89 degrees. Mars laughs at that. The atmosphere is 95% carbon dioxide at just 0.6% of Earth's sea level pressure. Dr. Pascal Lee at NASA Ames Research Center describes the Martian surface as the most hostile environment in the solar system that we might actually want to visit. Radiation levels average 0.67 millisieverts per day, according to Curiosity's RAD instrument. That translates to 33 to 100 times higher than Earth. A complete 960-day Mars mission accumulates around 900 millisieverts. The maximum recommended lifetime dose for radiation workers on Earth is 1,000 millisieverts total. You would nearly hit your lifetime limit in one trip. Then there are the dust storms. These are not friendly neighborhood dust bunnies. Global storms occur every 3 Mars years and can last 6 months. The 2018 storm that killed NASA's Opportunity rover blocked almost all sunlight for months. Dust particles are 5 to 10 times finer than baby powder, and they destroy everything. Here is the nightmare scenario that keeps NASA scientists awake. If you stepped onto Mars without a pressure suit, you would experience ebullition. Your body fluids would vaporize from the low pressure. You would lose consciousness within 12 seconds and die within 2 minutes. You would simultaneously freeze, boil, and suffocate. Mars could not decide which way to kill you, so it chose all of them. This is why robots go first. Once they prepare the infrastructure, we arrive to a planet that is merely extremely dangerous instead of instantly lethal. Arcadia, humanity's Martian address. So where exactly are we building this city? SpaceX did not just throw a dart at a map of Mars. They have already identified the perfect location, and it sounds like something straight out of Greek mythology. Arcadia Planitia sits at 47 degrees north latitude, a smooth volcanic plain spanning 4.9 million square kilometers. That is bigger than the entire European Union. The terrain features ancient lava flows and wrinkle ridges, and it sits conveniently close to the most dramatic landmark in the solar system. Olympus Mons towers 21 kilometers above the surrounding plains. That is 2.5 times the height of Mount Everest. Its base diameter of 600 kilometers is roughly the size of Arizona. The volcano is so massive that if you stood at the edge of the caldera, you would not be able to see the other side because it would be below the horizon. According to Dr. James Head at Brown University, the youngest lava flows date to just 2 to 25 million years ago. But the real treasure lies beneath Arcadia's surface. In November 2016, NASA announced a discovery that changed everything. Using the SHARAD radar instrument aboard the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, researchers led by Dr. Cassie Sturman at the University of Texas found an ice deposit in nearby Utopia Planitia containing between 8,400 and 14,300 cubic kilometers of water ice. Why does this matter? Because water is everything on Mars. You drink it, you split it into hydrogen and oxygen through electrolysis to make breathable air. You combine that hydrogen with carbon dioxide from the atmosphere to make rocket fuel. Water is not just for survival. Water is the foundation of an entire industrial economy. A company called Honeybee Robotics has already developed a system called Redwater that achieved technology readiness level 5. It uses a heated probe to drill through the surface, melt the subsurface ice, and pump liquid water up. But hydrogen alone is not enough to get you home, and this is where things get really clever. Here is a question that probably never occurred to you. How do you get back from Mars? You cannot bring enough fuel for a round trip. Rocket propellant is incredibly heavy. Just getting there and landing uses everything you brought. So either you accept a one-way ticket or you figure out how to make fuel on Mars. SpaceX chose methane as Starship's fuel for a clever reason. Methane is hydrogen with carbon mixed in. 1 carbon atom for every 4 hydrogen atoms. Hydrogen comes from water. And carbon? You literally pull it out of thin air. The Martian atmosphere is 95% carbon dioxide. A process called the Sabatier reaction, discovered by French chemist Paul Sabatier in 1897, combines carbon dioxide with hydrogen at 300 to 400 degrees Celsius. The result is methane and water. The water gets recycled through electrolysis for more hydrogen. It is basically a perpetual fuel factory. NASA tested this with MOXIE aboard the Perseverance rover. Between 2021 and August 2023, it ran 16 tests and exceeded all expectations. MOXIE produced oxygen at double NASA's target rate with 98% purity. Dr. Michael Hecht at M1T called it a historic first demonstrating technology for future Mars explorers. SpaceX's Raptor engines need about 1,200 tons of propellant per vehicle for a return trip. For 2 crewed Starships, that is 2,400 tons, manufactured entirely on Mars during the 26-month surface stay. By around 2030, robots will have water plants running, fuel factories humming, and habitats pressurized. The stage will be set for the most dramatic moment in human history. Picture this: 100 Starships, each carrying 150 tons of cargo, descending through the Martian atmosphere on pillars of fire. This is the actual plan for around 2030. Starship stands 121 meters tall, taller than the Statue of Liberty. Payload capacity exceeds 100 metric tons to the Mars surface. The pressurized volume is larger than the entire International Space Station combined. We are not sending a capsule with 3 cramped astronauts. We are sending a building. But landing is just the beginning. You need power, lots of it. Tesla's Megapack batteries store up to 5 megawatt-hours each. One unit powers a small town for hours, but solar power on Mars has serious issues. Average sunlight is only 43% of Earth's intensity. Dust accumulation degrades panels by 0.2% daily. During global storms, illumination drops to 1% of normal for 3 months. That killed NASA's InSight lander in 2022. NASA's solution is nuclear. The kilopower reactor delivers 10 kilowatts continuously for 15 years from a 1,500 kilogram unit. 4 of these would power a crew through anything Mars throws at them. Starship provides temporary housing after landing, but living in a rocket gets old fast. Imagine taking an elevator every single time you enter or exit your home. For years, the colonists need permanent habitats. Those beautiful glass domes from science fiction turn out to be almost impossibly difficult. Singapore's airport dome weighs 3,500 tons. That would require 350 Starship loads for one structure plus construction equipment. So what is the alternative? Something our ancestors figured out thousands of years ago. The Inuit have known for millennia that frozen water makes excellent shelter. NASA's Langley Research Center applied this ancient wisdom to Mars with the Ice Home concept developed in 2016 by researcher Kevin Kempton. The design uses an inflatable structure gradually filled with water ice extracted from the Martian surface. Ice provides radiation shielding while remaining translucent for natural light. This matters because humans deprived of light cycles experience depression and cognitive decline. Robots fill the structure at 1 cubic meter daily, completing construction in 400 days before crew arrival. The Mars Icehouse design won NASA's 2015 3D printed habitat challenge, beating 162 entries. But here is where things get genuinely weird. What about concrete for larger structures? In September 2021, researchers at the University of Manchester, led by Dr. Aled Roberts, discovered you can make concrete using human blood. A protein in blood plasma acts as a binding agent with Martian soil. The resulting astrocrete achieves strength comparable to ordinary concrete. Adding urea from urine increases strength by over 300%. Medieval stonemasons actually did this with animal blood when building castles. 6 astronauts over 2 years could produce over 500 kilograms of astrocrete. I am not going to sugarcoat it. Mars colonization involves creative recycling of everything. Plot twist: the dirt on Mars is trying to kill you. In 2008, NASA's Phoenix lander discovered Martian soil contains perchlorates at concentrations 10,000 times higher than Earth's most contaminated sites. Perchlorates are chlorine compounds, the same stuff in swimming pools that kills bacteria. Dr. Jennifer Wadsworth at the University of Edinburgh found that combined with ultraviolet radiation, perchlorates become lethal to all life. You absolutely cannot grow food in raw Martian dirt. So how do you farm on a planet that poisons everything? NASA's veggie system on the International Space Station uses hydroponics, growing plants in nutrient-rich water instead of soil. On August 10, 2015, astronauts ate the first space-grown food, red romaine lettuce. This bypasses perchlorates entirely. You use Martian water, add recycled nutrients, and grow food without touching toxic dirt. The scale is daunting. Each colonist needs 180 to 250 square meters of growing area. Food self-sufficiency for 1 million people could take 100 years. From 1991 to 1993, 8 people sealed themselves inside Biosphere 2 in Arizona. Oxygen dropped dangerously low. Most animals died, but the people survived and learned invaluable lessons. Dr. Jane Pointer, one of the crew, said you cannot engineer around biology. You must work with it. If power, water, oxygen, shelter, and food can all be produced on Mars without requiring anything from Earth, humanity becomes a multiplanetary species. A city of 1 million people living on the red planet. The ships from Earth may one day stop coming, but by then it will not matter. Our story continues from a second world. The Mars 500 experiment gave us a preview of these psychological challenges. From 2010 to 2011, 6 volunteers sealed themselves in a Moscow facility for 520 days, simulating a complete Mars mission with communication delays of 13 to 20 minutes. All 6 completed the experiment, but 4 experienced significant sleep problems. Researchers identified psychological cycles at 35 and 70 days, with mood drops at the 6-month and 1-year marks. These are the invisible challenges that no amount of engineering can solve. Only human resilience and community can carry colonists through. But here is the beautiful thing. None of these problems are impossible. They are just hard. Really, really hard. The kind of hard that took us from the Wright brothers to the moon in 66 years. The kind of hard that humanity has conquered before when we decided something mattered enough. A city of 1 million people on the red planet. The ships from Earth may one day stop coming. Maybe Earth faces catastrophe. Maybe future generations simply drift apart. But by then it will not matter. Humanity will have a backup. Our story continues from a second world. And the next question becomes even more exciting. Where do we go after Mars? So what do you think? Would you sign up for a one-way ticket to Mars or watch humanity's greatest adventure from the comfort of Earth? Drop your thoughts in the comments below.